Hi everyone. Hope you all can hear me loud and clear. So, welcome to our today's webinar on securing your Active Directory database. So, we are thrilled to have you with us today as we delve into the fascinating and, dare I say, crucial world of Active Directory security. I know what you're thinking. How could anything with directory in its name possibly be exciting, right? So, well, strap in because by the end of the session, you'll be as passionate about AD security as we are. And if not, at least you'll have some good stories to share at your next meeting. Uh, so, Active Directory or AD, for those in the know, is the unsung hero of your organization's IT infrastructure. So, it's the silent guardian, the watchful protector of your network resources and permissions. But like all good superheroes, it has its vulnerabilities, and where there are vulnerabilities, there are villains. So cyber criminals ready to exploit any weakness, and it's like the invisible stage manager in a theater production, quietly orchestrating everything behind the scenes, ensuring that users can access the right resources at the right time. But just like in any good mystery, there are always those lurking in the shadows, cyber villains plotting the next move, hoping to exploit any weakness in your Active Directory setup. So today we'll sprinkle in some real life horror stories of Active Directory breaches because what's a security webinar without a few cautionary tales, right? So these examples will illustrate how crucial it is to stay vigilant and proactive in your security efforts. So once again, thank you for joining us today. Let's dive in and make sure your AD is as secure as your cat's favorite hiding spot. And let the webinar begin. So I'm sure many of us would have spent countless hours on Facebook, whether it's messaging friends, posting pictures, sharing stories, or even doing a bit of light stalking to keep up with our neighbors are up to. As Facebook grew more popular, it started to feel like every other post was an advertisement, often squeezing itself right between your neighbor's vacation photos and your friend's latest cooking disaster. But here's the kicker. Attackers have found a way to use these advertisements to compromise your Active Directory database, specifically targeting the NTDS.DIT file. So let's set the scene. Imagine you're casually scrolling through Facebook on one of your organization's mission, and when you see a job ad that seems too good to be true, and let's say it's for an account manager position in a digital advertising, but it could be for any role. The specific doesn't matter. What matters is that the advertisement includes a link inviting you to click and upload your resume and cover letter for more details about the job. Tempting, right? So you click the link and boom, it triggers a download from a Discord CDN delivering a file named PDF2.cpl. So it looks like a legitimate DocuSign document, but surprise, it's actually a PowerShell payload designed to exploit the Windows control panel for execution. So these CPL files are sneaky. They can run malware or bypass application and file extension allow less. You might wonder you have antivirus or Windows Defender. So your trusty antivirus or Windows Defender will think everything is normal and it will let this payload through because it seems legit. Now this payload consists of three parts: a legitimate Windows executable, a DLL for sideloading, and a document containing the malicious code. It's the perfect disguise, and at this point, the attacker has control of your computer. So the malware will install the TrickBot Trojan, which is a notorious Trojan. And TrickBot is like that unwanted house guest who snoops through your stuff. It starts by stealing various pieces of information and then tries to spread to other computers on your network and to gather even more data. So this trick bot will download specific modules to steal cookies, browser information, open SSH keys, and many more. Now, and not only that, now TrickBot has a new trick up its sleeve, the ADLL module, which is discovered by security researcher Sandonim. Uh, so this module will execute a variety of Windows commands to steal the Active Directory database. But first, let's talk about the ntds.dit file to understand what it is. So when a server becomes a domain controller, it creates and saves the Active Directory database in the root directory, Windows folder, and NTDS folder. So this folder contains the ntds.dit file, which stores all directory information, users, like directory information like users, passwords, groups, computers, you name it, and the Active Directory information is available in this ntds.dit file. Because this data is super sensitive, Windows encrypts it using a boot key which is stored in the system hive of the registry. And since the ntds.dit file is always in use by the domain controller, you can't just access it like a regular file. So you will need this NTDS utility tool. So enter the NTDS util. It's a tool which is provided by Windows Domain Controller for database maintenance. So administrators can use this tool to run the ISM, which is the install from media command, which creates a copy of the Active Directory database to set up a new domain controller quickly. So if TrickBot gets admin access to a domain controller, it can abuse this command to create a copy of the domain's Active Directory database and steal it. So the ADLL module uses the install from media command to dump the Active Directory database, and not only that, various registry hives like system hives and security hives will be dumped into the temporary folder. So these files are then compressed and sent back to the attackers, and here's where it gets interesting. So the ADLL module generates an 8-character ID based on the TrickBot's client ID and uses this ID to name the file. So it runs commands to dump the Active Directory database as well as the SAN, security, and system hive. And once these files are dumped, it compresses them and sends them back to the attacker's server. So with these files in hand, the attackers can decrypt the Active Directory database, extracting usernames, password hashes, computer names, groups, and other sensitive data. So this treasure trove of information allows them to spread further within the network, causing even more havoc. So the next time you're tempted by a too good to be true job ad on Facebook, remember this tale of trickery and tread carefully. Your Active Directory and your IT department will thank you. Now, so now let's see how an attacker gains a copy of Active Directory database. Now, just imagine the attacker has gained the administrative access to your domain controller with the information that is stolen using the malware uh, that got installed on your computer just by clicking a Facebook ad. So let me log into the domain controller as the administrator. So this is my root domain controller. And I've logged into this as an administrator. Now let's go and have a look at our temporary folder and see if there is any files what are the files that are available. So it's on the local disk C under users, get onto administrator, get into app data, then local, then here you have temporary folders. So here you can see so these are the only folders that are available right now. All right, so now let's see the changes that happen in this folder when you take a dump of the Active Directory database. So how do you take a dump of this Active Directory database? So to do that, open your command prompt and run it as an administrator. Yeah, and now navigate to the temporary folder path. So we are already in users and administrators. So app data, local. So now we are into the temporary folder. So over here, enter this NTDS utility command, enter the NTDS util tool. So here I'm gonna type the command in one line. So I'm entering the NTDS util tool and I'll activate the activate instance NTDS. I want to install from media credentials, and here you mention the folder that you want to have this dump to be saved. And I want this dump to be saved in the name pratish.dat. Right, so now I'll exit out of the NTDS util. Here you can see once you execute this command NTDS util, activate instance NTDS, install from media, and then when you specify the path and the file name that you wish to have for the dump that you create, it will start creating snapshots. So we'll wait for this to happen. Generally, it will take some time. And once this is done, you will get a message saying it's been generated successfully. And along with this, it will also create, the .dat files for the system hives and the security hives from registry. So let's wait for it. Here it is. So here you can see the snapshot set has been generated successfully and has already been mounted. Now again you can see it's copying the registry files as well. As I said, it's copying the system registry files, I mean the system hives from the registry and the security hives from the registry. So here you get a message that IFM media created successfully and it gives you the path where it has been created. Now exit out of the NTDS utility tool. Now let's go back to the temporary folder and check if there is any folder that is created. We're getting into users, administrator, app data, local, temporary, and here it is. Pratish.dat. This is the dump that we created, and this has the ntds.dit and the ntds.jfm. And as I said, it also copied the registry, the system hides and the security hides from the registry as well. Now, like now we have this Active Directory database dump available, and using DS internals module in PowerShell, it is easy for attackers to gain the boot key that is used to decrypt the database. Remember earlier we talked about this NTDS .dat file. This has been encrypted by this has been encrypted by Windows using a boot key that's in the system hive. So to gain the boot key, it is DS internals module is required, and once it is decrypted, once the attacker gains this boot key, and once he decrypts the ntds.dit file, attackers hash the password hash, and with the hashes, attackers will spread furthermore into the network. So how will this file will look like when you download? So this is how this DocuSign will look like when you click on the Facebook link. The when you click on the links that's on the Facebook advertisement. So this is the content of the DocuSign URL, and this is how the the document that gets downloaded from the Discord CDN will look like. So far we were talking about how Facebook ads paves ways to NTDS.dit exfiltration. So now let's talk about something even more futuristic. So Windows 11's recall feature. So this little gem is designed to make your life easier by recalling information you have looked at in the past. So it sounds handy, right? Wrong. Here's where it gets dicey. Now, Recall takes a screenshot of your active windows every few seconds and stores this information for up to 3 months. Yep, every website you visit, every document you open, and every meme you chuckle at is all recorded. Now, Microsoft's AI-powered recall feature analyzes these snapshots to extract useful data, creating a semantic index for easy searchability. So it's like having your own personal artificial intelligence assistant, but one that might accidentally tattletale on you. Now, imagine this. You're drafting a top secret business proposal in Word, or maybe you're checking your bank account online, and Recall snaps a screenshot. Now, this data is neatly indexed and easily searchable. So, Microsoft admits there is no content moderation, which means every bit of sensitive information like passwords, account numbers, confidential documents is everything is potentially at risk. So the AI doesn't discriminate. It will happily index your most private moments for future recall. So here's where it gets fun for the hackers. That is, let's say you're visiting a perfectly legitimate website for work. Suddenly, an annoying advertisement pops up, and in your haste to close it, you click the X without knowing to you that simple click triggers a drive-by download attack, which is a stealthy method where just viewing or interacting with an advertisement can deliver a malicious payload to your system. So this malicious script, once it's been delivered, these scripts will execute as soon as you interact with the advertisement, and this script scans for your system's vulnerabilities. And once a vulnerability is found, an exploit kit is being deployed. So these kits are like cybercrime Swiss Army knife. It will keep exploiting various flaws to install malware. So the exploit kit drops a Trojan onto your system, and the Trojans are sneaky little devils disguised as legitimate software, granting attackers remote control over your computer. So with a Trojan in place, attackers gain a backdoor entry into your system, and this allows them to do all sorts of nefarious things like uh, uh, gathering sensitive information from your recall snapshots. And with recall, attackers don't even need to bother with traditional keyloggers to steal your data. They can simply sift through your indexed snapshots to find passwords, financial information, and other juicy bits of data. So it's like having a cheat sheet to your digital life. So armed with the stolen data, attackers can now set their sights on the grand prize, your Active Directory database. So using the stolen information from your snapshots, attackers gain administrative access to your domain controller, and once inside, they use tools like NTDS util to create a dump of the ntds.dat file, which contains all of your AD data, usernames, password hashes, and more, just like how we saw in the demonstration earlier. So they also grab the system and security highs, if you remember. So from the registry to get password hashes and other critical information. So once they have this information, the attackers then run these hashes through cracking programs to reveal the plain text passwords. And with these credentials, they can compromise other devices on the network, spreading their reach and potentially causing massive disruption. So Windows 11 recall feature, while designed with good intentions, introduces a significant security risk. So it's a double-edged sword, providing convenience at the cost of potentially exposing sensitive information to cyber attackers. And as we continue to evolve and adopt new technology, it's crucial to remain vigilant and understand the potential risks involved. So whether you're still clinging to Windows XP or have bravely stepped into the feature with Windows 11, Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. So, how this helps the attackers? Now, when malware infiltrates a victim's computer, its primary goal is to persist, evade detection, and carry out the attacker's commands. Since all these happens without your knowledge, how do you even detect that your computer has been compromised? Now, these kind of malware often modifies the system registry to uh, it will modify the system registry to add new entries that ensure it runs automatically upon startup. So this technique is particularly effective because it guarantees that the malware will be executed each time the system boots up. So it keeps maintaining its presence on the system. And also to avoid detection and removal, malware can alter registry settings to disable security features such as antivirus software or Windows Defender. So by doing so, it reduces the chances of being detected and allows itself to operate freely. So monitoring the registry editor for any changes will help you detect these attacks. Now, also the malware may create new files and directories to store its components. So these files are often hidden or placed in obscure system directories to avoid drawing attention. For example, malware might place its files in system folders like System32 or use names that mimic legitimate system files. And these legitimate files may be altered to include malicious code. So by injecting code into the trusted system files or applications, malware can leverage the legitimate process to execute its payloads, making it harder to detect. So keep monitoring for any new files or directories that are created and hidden that will help you to detect these attacks. And not only this, changes malware will also establish a connection with a command and control server, which is nothing but a set of computers that the attacker remotely manages. So this server is crucial for the attacker to send instructions to the malware and receive data exfiltrated from the infected system. Through this communication channel, the malware can send stolen data such as password, password and other personal information like financial details and other details, and it will send it back to the attacker. So if there is any significant increase in the network traffic, all of a sudden, there are chances that your computer might be compromised. So how do you eliminate these malware? You might have an antivirus software or a Windows Defender installed on your endpoint, but these malware looks legitimate and it's difficult for the antivirus to detect these kind of malware entering your computer. Since these malwares are making changes on your endpoint, uh, all you need is an SIM solution that monitors and alerts if there is any changes in the registries, directories, event logs, or also, like you can have a solution that monitors any significant increase in network traffic so that one can take corrective actions like isolating the compromised computer, editing the registry, and one can take many more actions as well. So, all right, folks, we have covered a lot of ground today, from the thrilling dangers of Facebook ads and the sneaky exploits of TrickBot to the brave new world of Windows 11 recall and its unintended pitfalls. It's been quite the adventure, hasn't it? So, what have we learned? If there's one thing you take away from today, it's that Active Directory security is no joke. It's the backbone of your IT infrastructure, the keeper of the keys, the guardian of the gates. And like any good guardian, it needs constant vigilance to stay ahead of these pesky cyber villains. Now, as we wrap up, imagine your environment as a medieval castle. Your Active Directory is the king's treasure room. Without proper defenses, any sneaky villain can break in and steal the treasures. But with strong security measures, vigilant guards, which is you, and maybe a metaphorical moat filled with alligators, which is your security tools. You can keep those pesky intruders at bay. So next time you see a sketchy ad on Facebook or a shiny new feature in Windows 11, remember our tales of intrigue and treachery. So be cautious, be prepared, and most importantly, be proactive in securing your Active Directory. And hey, if nothing else, uh, you now have some pretty wild stories to share at your next meeting or virtual happy hour. So, did I ever tell you about the time a Facebook ad almost stole our entire Active Directory database? It's a great icebreaker, trust me. So, for any further questions or clarifications, please feel free to reach out to me at the email address displayed on the screen, and I'm here to help with any additional information or support you might need. So, thank you for joining us today. Stay safe, stay secure, and remember, in the world of cybersecurity, you're the hero of your network. You're the hero your network needs. Now, go forth and protect your kingdom. Thank you.